Welcome. My name's Ken Rethmeier, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to Leading for Value, and I mean true value. This is going to be a series of podcasts based upon my book, Leading for Value, the same name. And there are 4 chapters there, and it's based upon over 50 years of my experiences as a leader, a worker, and inspiring others to help them in their journey of leadership, working as a consultant and teaching internationally as well as consulting internationally in mostly healthcare, but also in financial services. And interestingly enough, the oil industry. I'll tell you about that one when we get going. But the purpose of this podcast is to help leaders in their journey to develop a inspirational presence that produces exceptional results. And I do mean exceptional, both meaningful and with meaning. What do I mean by that? With meaning is you put numbers on the board, you scored pluses, so forth and so on. And meaningful means when you get home at night, you feel good about what you've done. And the team that you are working with, the people that are working for you, they feel good about it as well. So this is part of a process, a journey, if you will, that leaders carry with them all along the way. And in my case, what I'm going to be trying to emphasize and that as a leader, I'll give you the hint first up. The core bottom line best attribute that you can create is a level of trust. I did a lot of consulting almost over 20 years now. And what I found when I saw organizations that were failing, all too often, unfortunately, it came from the top where there was not a level of trust in the organization, an environment that made you feel good about what you were doing. So what I try to do in this book is provide 4 different perspectives, 4 models that I created over the course of my 50 years of experience in the United States Navy as a medical service corps officer for 22 years, including a tour in Vietnam with the Marine Corps. That was interesting. 4 corporate experiences, both in healthcare and also financial services. And then also my teaching through Maastricht University's Department of International Health and worked with Project Hope, teaching healthcare management. And then more recently, I've done a number of programs on leadership excellence for the healthcare providers in Romania. That's been a very interesting experience. And I try to combine that all into these models that I've created. And for each model, you will see there are tools that go with them. And those tools are designed to help you go out and work with them. I've used every single one multiple times in some cases. In fact, the first one probably over 100 times. But the purpose of the tools is to help them help you in practicing what you want to do with your organization, whether it's creating a vision, whether it's creating new tools, lines of business, new opportunities in other areas that you haven't been, and work accordingly. And the bottom line, if you look up behind me, this is something I found many, many years ago, and it still stands true today. Leadership is having the courage to act, to do what is right, not to wait and see, not to wait and hope, but the courage to get involved now. I found that, and it was an author unknown. Whoever it was did a great job. And it inspired me along my own way, because I believe that you reach a point in your career as a good leader, you start giving back. You start helping other people, especially if you've made your successes. And I was very, very fortunate to be a very successful naval officer, very successful in teaching and consulting. And now I'm reaping the benefits of that, and I want to give back. So this is for you all as well. And now to get started on the more formal part of this program, I'm going to share the screen with the PowerPoint presentation presentation, and we'll go from there. Here it is, slide number 1. Welcome again to Leading for Value podcast series, episode 1. At this point, I'm guessing there'll probably be anywhere from 25 to 30 episodes, given the depth of the book and what I want to try to accomplish. And in each one, I will be very careful about how we approach it. And I will keep you guys in mind because I want you all to benefit from this experience. It's not about me. It's about you. Believe me. So session 1, what's the plan? I think it's important that I do a bit of an introduction, brief bio, so you sort of have a sense of what is my background, what were my educational degrees, my work experience, and so forth and so on. Because all of this came together in the book of over 50 years, as I said earlier. And the purpose of the planned podcast is each one will provide you some materials that I hope you can learn from, but then more importantly, the tools that you will have in your hand that are easy to apply and they produce exceptional results. And the outline of the materials, the book, the model, its application for leaders and tools, and then, if you'll pardon the expression, a little color commentary by my part, because I'll give you some examples of where things worked very well and some places where they didn't work quite so well. But that's okay. That's important. And I will be using real-time examples of both the successes and challenges from my consulting and teaching. So let's go back and take another look here. Overall purpose of this podcast series, an opportunity to learn and apply. And I believe in helping people to learn something new that opens their eyes and their thinking about their own leadership roles and how they can become a mentor for their own people, teaching and consulting for themselves, and to encourage new ways of thinking and inspiring others to work differently to achieve extraordinary organizational performance and uncommon results. I can tell you, if you go home at the end of the day and you feel good about what you've done, that's great. And to have a positive influence on your leadership journey to see, believe, and achieve. See what you're going to do, believe in what you're going to do, and achieve in everything that you pursue. So what's my own background? My undergraduate degree, Bachelor of Science in Public Health from UCLA. We won't talk about the year. It was quite a while ago. And a Master and Doctor of Public Health and Healthcare Administration. And I specialized in organizational behavior. That was at the UNC Chapel Hill. Great program, learned a heck of a lot. And I have applied most everything that I learned from both of those experiences, especially one sidebar. My undergraduate degree included some studies in epidemiology. And I guarantee you, when I was in Vietnam doing foodborne illness outbreaks, investigations, and other disease entities we were dealing with, that epidemiology came in hand. So I believe in learning, and everything I can do to help you, I will do the best I can. I served for 22 years as a Medical Service Corps officer in the United States Navy and retired as a captain. That's an 06, equivalent to a colonel in the other services. And I had some great and wonderful people I worked with and some great experiences, which I'll share periodically. My corporate roles were with Pennsylvania Hospital Association as their director of research. Some of the work that we did was recognized by the American Hospital Association. And then Sun Health down in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then interestingly enough, I got a call from a guy named Bud Baker, who was the CEO of the old Wachovia Bank. And he invited me to come up and help him create their executive leadership program, which I did with great joy and was able to take advantage of faculty appointments I had in Chapel Hill. And then in 2003, I decided I've had enough of that. I'm going to go out and do my own thing. And that's when I started working with people like Project Hope, teaching and consulting in Eastern Europe, 7 of those countries, contributing partner to the European Union's leadership model, which was leadership excellence for public health in Europe. And that was a great experience as a contributing factor on that one. And consulting and speaker circuit for a number of years. And my consulting worked in healthcare, financial services, and I said the oil industry. It was a company that provided mechanical services for refineries, and that worked with them for 7 years. It was very interesting. And we took that company from an $80 million revenue company and 3% margin to $245 million and a 5% margin. I think we did pretty good. And then I've published numerous papers, articles, and obviously the book. And more recently, I was privileged to work as a faculty for a program that Wake Forest University put together in their Masters for Medical Leadership and master's degrees. And that was on entrepreneurship. So that was a lot of fun. And I'm still keeping up with watching those people as they grow. So what is the content of the book and how does it fit? My perspective was that as I was working, I found that I would see things differently depending upon the circumstance that I was in. And so the book is designed around 4 models, as I said, that I created along the way. And chapter 1 is all about capacity, capability, and confidence. And that translates into see the vision, believe in continuous learning, achieve extraordinary results. And in each of those, I have exercises and tools that will show you how to take advantage of your own leadership role in that regard. And I think you'll find them, some of those can be a lot of fun. So you got to have fun. Otherwise, it's not worth working. Chapter 2, explore, expand, excel. This is more of a lineal model designed to take into account how we develop ideas on our minds as leaders, how we translate those ideas into how our work relationships and relationships with the business we're in, and how we then produce processes and products, if you will, or services through systems thinking that results in very, very meaningful outcomes. And we'll go through each of these in detail. And then the third one, the one that was a lot of fun to create, was iWorks. That came out of my work, interestingly enough, at Wachovia, the bank. Innovation works. And this is about new ways of thinking and interacting for change and improvement of performance. And I'll give you a couple of examples we used right there that were fantastic, produced significant results. And then chapter 4, we can't forget this. As you all know, that when you're in work, you have to manage risk. And those risk opportunities, if you will, that come before you happen sometimes rapidly, sometimes slowly. But a leader's job is to identify what they are and be prepared to help guide the organization or the team through those obstacles and get a long way into improving performance. And I'll talk a little bit about accountability as we go forward. Key piece. So, what are some of my own conclusions from my own journey? Pretty simple, but I think very important. Leadership depends on trust. Can't say that enough. If you don't have trust of your people, if you don't have trust of your peers, if you don't have trust of your bosses, you're not going to succeed. You will not be a good leader. And that's important. So every day when you go home, you have to think about, what did I gain today? What did I learn today? And who did I help along the way? And then the second point, challenge your employees, challenge your staff, challenge your bosses, and then be open to be challenged. I can tell you when I was in Washington, D.C., I had a group of 4 budget analysts that challenged me every day, and we had a ball. And interestingly enough, a product that we produced was then sold to other parts of the Washington, D.C. area because of the model of success that we had. And then thirdly, every day is a learning opportunity. And I think that's very, very important, because if you're going to be successful, you've got to be able to do that. You've got to recognize that this is a learning experience. Just because you have a good academic background, just because you have a lot of experience, those are the platforms that help you be a better learner. And the more you learn, the better off you are. And then fourthly, you got to get comfortable getting out of your comfort zone. And the more you do that, the more you will find how much fun you can have, how much you can generate in energy for others. And that's really important. If you're recognized for that, you'll be a success. I guarantee it. And then once again, strive to produce results of meaning, putting scores on the board, and meaningful, feeling good when you get home at night. And the last one, people don't talk about this much. Be a mentor. I've had a mentor, believe it or not, for 55 years. He was my master's advisor, went on to become my chairman of my doctoral committee. We have worked together. I had him do work with me when I was with Sun Health, and I could call him right now, and it was like we just talked yesterday. He's been a great mentor, somebody that I trust, who I look to and say, hey, Arnie, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? And that's the kind of thing you need to have. You need a good mentor for your life and your leadership role. And lastly, enjoy the ride and have some fun. The more fun you have, and interestingly enough, your team will appreciate it and they'll do well too. Let me give you some final thoughts. My goal for these sessions, as it says, are for you to include hopefully opening your eyes and thinking to new ways of doing things. And in so doing, leading and guiding teams and organizations. That's my task, and I hope to do it the best I can for you. Please stick around. We're going to have some fun. To offer field-tested leadership tools that I know work and will work for you. Like I said, most of these tools I have used over and over again, and I know they work. And lastly, and have some fun along the way. I can't emphasize that enough. You know, when you think back about your own career, think of those times when you really felt good and what a difference it made in the quality and the depth of the quality of work you produced and the people you work with. And that's what's most important in everything we do. And at this point, I think it's important for me to say to you, I owe you. You don't owe me. I owe you. And I'm going to do whatever I can to help you become a better leader, a more insightful leader, and someone who knows how to move an organization to a higher level of performance, integrity, and a vision of value. That's the key. Leaders who are successful provide value in everything they do, on time, on target, every time. Thank you for listening for this first episode, and I hope to see you real soon on the next episode, episode number 2.